Welcome back to Big Mouth, and fancy seeing you here. Na 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 na. I was going to do the Man of Steel music, but it isn't really working. We are so close to $1 billion global dollars. The DCEU is on the precipice of being part of the $1 billion plus global club. And isn't it exciting? Now, to an MCU fan or to a Star Wars fan, we sound very pathetic to be excited about this. But you've got to just pat us on the head and humour us. You know, it's been a long, long struggle for us. This is how it first started. Now, Man of Steel came just after Smallville. Some people felt that Smallville didn't end young Clark's journey very well. Some of us were a bit, I don't know, overindulged in Superman and didn't know if we'd get a great Superman again. For me, this film is the best. It is brilliant. It is absolutely fantastic. No matter what they say and what they do, this, my friends, is the film that started it. Now, let me gently put this down because I watch this a lot. So I don't want anything to happen to it. Yes, my friends, we are nearly there. 1 billion. And isn't it exciting? But I have got a very special video for that planned. When it hits and when it happens, I'll probably do that tomorrow. But we need to talk. Because it's been a really, really fruitful journey up to this point. How did we get here? So we had Man of Steel that split audiences. That did okay, but it split audiences. A lot of people didn't like the fact that Superman killed Zod. I must admit, watching the film, the only disappointment in Zod dying is that meant we would never see him go against Superman again. I don't personally think big villains should die. But you've got to give it to David S. Goyer, whose decision it was to kill him off. It was a big, big decision. It was a ballsy decision. It was a brave decision. And let's put it this way, it split the cinema-going audience. But I think, if you look at the DCEU movies, I think this is one of the most cleverest movies of them all. Because it's kind of a blockbuster. It's partly a popcorn-chomping, exciting, stunning movie. But it's also got a lot of significant commentary in it. How we treat the Earth, what happens to Krypton, and the parallels of what's happening here on Earth. And we are looking, isn't it what Michael Shannon said in the extras? We're going around our solar system, NASA and Russia and everyone, looking for other planets that can house human life. Because we know this planet is dying. So there was some fantastic commentary in that first DCEU movie. And even though a lot of critics didn't like it, even though it's split kind of opinion, for me, it's an absolute fabulous film. Masterfully directed by Zack Snyder in his first DCEU movie. Unfortunately for Zack, there's people who already didn't like his style of filmmaking because of Watchmen. I love Watchmen. You know, people don't like Zack Snyder's kind of filmmaking because it's different, because it's on the nose, because it's controversial. There was the decision to have the shaky camera on Krypton. That was interesting, not necessarily the way I would have gone at it. As I said, Man of Steel isn't the way I would have made a Superman film, but it's the way Zack Snyder wanted to do it. And I respect him for being kind of original enough and individual enough to make his own film. The music in this film, wow. This set the precedent to what the DCEU was going to be from this until now when we get to Aquaman. Now, Aquaman has similar commentary to Man of Steel. It's a pretty serious film, but it does have some light moments. It's probably got the lightest moments within all of the DCEU. And the gags in Aquaman probably drop a lot more and work a lot more than they do the other films. But for me, gags are not important. And I wasn't going to watch Aquaman because it was going to have gags in it. But Jason Momoa is naturally a funny guy. He pulled it off in Justice League as far as I'm concerned. So when Batfleck asks him, oh, so you can talk to fish then? And Momoa just looks at him like he just wants to nut him. And it's just brilliant. So for me, it's been painful. It's been painful at times. Not because of the films, but because of the response to the films. Us DCEU fans have really had to put up a big fight. And it's been difficult. It's been hard, you know, to see the MCU doing so well and our franchise being hated by the mainstream. But I think it's powered us. It's energized us. We have really stuck up and propped up this franchise because it deserves it. It's a brilliant franchise. But like everything in life, it can be problematic, like Justice League. And I think even as DCEU fans, we had to come out and call Justice League out. And that was right, and that was proper. And the way Warner Brothers responded was right and proper because they got rid of a lot of people and they brought the right people in. And now we're in this situation where we've got a DCEU film in Aquaman that's about to hit 1 billion and go beyond that. How much it goes beyond that, I don't know. I think this is the last weekend for IMAX, so it's all going to be starting to die down. But the point is, it's going to cross 1 billion global. And that's, of course, very, very important. It sets a template for the future. I'm already reading in Brazil that actually Shazam is the most anticipated blockbuster of this year. Now, that's Brazil, of course. We don't know how the feeling for Shazam is going to be around the world. I do think the posters of Zach Levi drinking the drink will appeal to a lot of people. It says fun. It says this is a bit quaint. So I'm very interested to see how Shazam does because this really is the first truly Walter Hamada film. Now, some people will tell you, yeah, well, Jeff Johns greenlit it. Yes, but Jeff Johns and John Berg absolutely had nothing to do with this film. New Line Cinema have a lot to do with this because David F. Sandberg has a lot of history with New Line Cinema. And this is certainly Walter's film. It's certainly a New Line Cinema production. Warner Brothers, of course, own New Line. It's going to be something that people are going to see and going to enjoy. That was my experience of it anyway. But basically, I just think we can look back. When you have a hard time in life, and when you struggle, when you're supporting something like the DCEU, but there's so many hurtful moments. We've been bullied. I remember after Batman v Superman, even doing a video that reached about 20k, and it's not on this channel. I used to have like another channel which I barely used to do videos on, and I actually stood up in this video and I was waving my arms up, and a lot of people come to see that video. I can't even remember the name of the channel I had now. I think it reached like 50 subscribers, and then I started this one, changed my email address because I really wanted to go, give doing a YouTube channel a real go, and this is what I'm trying to do with this. But I remember doing that video. I remember feeling really ill and drained and really depressed from the negative reaction because when I saw Batman v Superman, I got a different kind of emotional reaction from myself than I got from these critics, from these haters. This was such a unique indie-style type of film. But for me, it worked. And for me, I didn't need 6 films to care about Superman. When he tells Lois, this is my world, you are my world, I'm crying. I'm emotional. That's my hero. That is my hero. That's what Superman would do. He wouldn't say to Wonder Woman, hey, you take it. No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't say to Batman, oh, for Christ's sake, Bats, do something. No. Superman is a hero, and he wouldn't want anyone else to do something that he's not willing to do. But he is willing. He knows that Doomsday is going to kill him, but he doesn't care because he wants to save humanity and he wants to save the woman that he loves. And that is emotional because of what he's gone through during this whole movie. The senator from Kentucky, every member of the public, when he goes to the Senate building and there's 3/4 of people who hate him, calling him an alien, telling him to leave, and then he's got a few supporters. That sums up the DCEU, doesn't it? Doesn't it? You know, the DCEU's got us, these kind of supporters. We love it. We support it. We stick up for it. Exactly what you see in that crowd before Superman goes in the Senate building, which is very emotional actually, is exactly what sums up the DCEU fandom. But like all fandoms, sometimes we make mistakes. Now, I remember after Justice League how hurt we all were. One of the things that really got on my nerves is the constant times people were posting pictures of Henry Cavill's upper lip. For me, this was not fair on Henry. That wasn't fair on Henry to have that in a film anyway. But for him to having to keep on seeing that was just wrong. And I think people are still doing it, and I would advise people don't do it because we want Henry to sign up to continue playing Superman. And I think for him to do that, we've got to be supportive in a positive way. Justice League was wrong. What they did to Zack was wrong, but it is done. They know how we feel. And now we move on. We move on with this $1 billion movie. They can never say to us again that the DCEU hasn't made $1 billion, right? A DCEU movie hasn't made $1 billion. Now, it's funny, isn't it? When the MCU make a $1 billion+ movie, it's because it's a good film. But when the DCEU have a $1 billion movie, it doesn't mean it's a good film. These people are the gift that keeps on giving, of course. But I'm in the point of my life now where I don't want to hate on people too much. They can hate what they want. The thing is, I can watch this any time and it gives me a geek boner. I love this film. This film is amazing. Amazing, I tell you. A Superman film written by Christopher Nolan and David Goyer, the people who gave us the outstanding Dark Knight trilogy, were involved in this film. Christopher Nolan protected Zack Snyder, wouldn't let any Warner Brothers executive anywhere near the set. And that idiot who kind of was producing a lot of these films, what's his name? The one who was messing up, what's his name? I forgot anyway, in the Superman Lives film, and interfering with that, and you know, he wasn't even allowed anywhere near the set. I forgot his name. So unprofessional. But basically, this was the first. And Aquaman is the latest. And it's very interesting how similar these films actually are to each other. And for me, after Justice League, a lot of rumours of, you know, from lots of people that we were going to get a reboot. This was worrying. I didn't want to forget about everything that's gone on in these movies. And to see Aquaman have a similarity to Man of Steel, to kind of share its tones in places, and even have some Easter eggs from Man of Steel, if you look really, really closely. It's a beautiful achievement. Finally, nobody can say the DCEU isn't a success. They couldn't even say that before. This franchise has made good money. No, it hasn't made $1 billion a movie. It doesn't have to. The DCEU has got fans like us who love it, who will keep on rewatching its movies to the end of time. I would say that people will be remembering the DCEU movies a lot longer than they'll be remembering the MCU movies.